I'm much better now that the ladies are back from space.
Thank you for having me. What were they up there, 10 minutes?
Well, it was very profound. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've seen Katy Perry talk about it, but she's basically a guru now.
Yeah. What were her findings? That's my question.
Well,
what
she
did
brought
she
a
learn?
daisy, which is super important. It shows you how quick the flight was. The dead daisy that's like snipped from its life source was still alive or still vibrant.
Was this really a bold leap for women in space? Or just a $100 million influencer getaway? That's the question many are still asking after Blue Origin's all-female celebrity space mission made headlines. On the surface, it had all the ingredients of a historic breakthrough. Women breaking barriers, high-altitude milestones, and a dash of empowerment. But beneath the surface, designer suits, surprise luxury gifts, Instagram promotions, and a photo op that looked more like a red carpet than a rocket launch. If you've been wondering whether this was a space mission or a stunt in orbit, buckle up, because we're diving into everything they didn't want you to notice about the world's first zero-gravity marketing campaign. It was billed as a groundbreaking, history-making moment, an all-female crew heading into space. Names like Katy Perry, Gail King, Lauren Sanchez, and yes, even a Kardashian or two, lined the manifest. The media called it inspiring. The crew called it empowering. But online, people weren't exactly buying it. Critics quickly pointed out the obvious. None of the passengers were astronauts. There was no engineering background, no scientific mission, and definitely no NASA-level training. Just media personalities, celebrities, and billionaires' friends stepping into custom-designed flight suits and taking a ride on Jeff Bezos' suborbital space toy. The tone of the mission didn't help its credibility. Between girl power chants, selfie montages, and emotional Instagram videos, the entire launch felt more like a TikTok retreat than a scientific expedition.
You're on the new shepherd. I think I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna sing a little bit. I gotta sing in space.
Viewers who expected space history were met with space-themed branding, complete with hashtags and pre-rehearsed speeches about empowerment. And while the crew members soaked in applause, many were left asking, is this what we now call space travel? No control panels, no research modules, just 10 minutes of weightlessness and 1,000 new followers. You'd think the most important gear for a space mission would be helmets, oxygen systems, maybe a little telemetry, something functional. But for this crew, it started with fashion. The Blue Origin flight suits weren't issued. They were designed. Handcrafted by Oscar de la Renta in collaboration with Lauren Sanchez, the suits were more runway-ready than rocket-tested. Tailored to each woman's body, the uniforms featured sleek lines, color coordination, and just enough contouring to turn a zero-gravity float into a Vogue cover shoot. Lauren Sanchez called it a celebration of femininity in space. Critics called it cosplay. And you can't really blame them. When the suits are getting more media coverage than the flight path, it raises questions about priorities. This wasn't a mission to Mars. It was an 11-minute loop above the atmosphere, styled like it was Fashion Week in orbit. Even Jeff Bezos got his own custom look, because heaven forbid the billionaire behind it all feel underdressed. And while real astronauts train for years in gear designed to save lives, this mission seemed more concerned with flattering angles and Insta-ready poses. Floating in space used to be about survival and science. Now, it's about looking good while doing it. And apparently that was the point. You might think Katy Perry went to space for inspiration. Turns out she went for promotion. Somewhere between liftoff and landing, Katy decided to launch something else entirely. Her next world tour. Mid-flight, she held up a delicate butterfly prop, seemingly just a quirky symbol, until fans zoomed in and realized it listed her entire set list. Yes, even in zero gravity, marketing never takes a break. The mission wasn't just a celebration of women in science, it was a promotional campaign wrapped in a spacesuit. Katy's Instagram post after the flight wasn't about the view of Earth or the wonder of the cosmos. It was a carefully curated ad, reminding millions of followers to buy tickets to her upcoming Butterfly Lifetimes tour. The caption? Something like, out of this world, because of course it was. Critics were quick to point out the obvious. This wasn't a historic leap for space travel. It was a publicity stunt with a soundtrack. While NASA astronauts used to go up with research payloads and engineering tools, Katy brought set lists and a butterfly prop. If there was ever a moment that blurred the line between spaceflight and spectacle, this was it. If you ever doubted that celebrity status could rewrite definitions, just ask Gail King. Because after one short ride in Bezos' rocket, She proudly declared herself an astronaut. No, not jokingly. No asterisk. Just full-blown, we made history energy. The kind of claim that might make actual NASA astronauts do a slow, silent facepalm.
Please don't call it a ride. That is not a friggin' ride. Whenever a man goes up, you have never said to an astronaut, boy, what a ride. You know, we duplicated the same trajectory that Alan Shepard did back in the day.
Sure. She strapped in, floated for a few minutes, and came back down safely. But calling that astronaut status? It's like sitting in first class on a flight to Vegas and saying you're an airline pilot. Gail even described her training kicking in. Though, based on what we saw, the most rigorous prep seemed to be learning how to fasten a seatbelt while smiling for the cameras.
I did it, Mom! I did it!
Yeah!
Social media wasn't kind. Comments poured in comparing the mission to a luxury carnival ride, one that costs more than most people's homes. And yet, the crew talked like they'd just completed a deep space voyage and redefined history. But let's be real, this wasn't the moon landing. It was a suborbital photo op with better lighting, and Gail King's astronaut title? Let's just say, it's more honorary than orbital. While the media hailed the flight as a monumental win for women, not everyone was clapping. In fact, some of the loudest voices online were women calling the mission anti-feminist, because what was marketed as a leap forward started looking a lot like a step backward in glitter heels. Instead of spotlighting women scientists, engineers, or trailblazers in STEM, the mission showcased celebrities floating in custom-fitted suits, taking selfies, and unboxing luxury gifts. The message wasn't, women can command space. It was more like, women can ride shotgun on a billionaire's rocket, as long as they look good doing it. Real female astronauts, those who spent decades training, studying physics, surviving G-forces, and preparing for life-or-death scenarios, were completely sidelined in favor of Instagram-friendly feminism. No mention of the women who helped build the rocket. No highlight reel for the scientists behind the tech. Just a lot of designer suits and perfectly timed PR moments. Many critics felt the mission trivialized real achievement and turned empowerment into a costume party. It wasn't about women leading space. It was about women appearing in space. And when empowerment is filtered through luxury branding, staged tears, and a $7,000 handbag reveal, it's no wonder some viewers walked away asking, is this progress or performance? And then came the conspiracies, because of course they did. When you mix celebrities, billionaires, and a suspiciously well-lit launch, the internet is going to start asking questions. Some viewers didn't just roll their eyes at the mission, they outright questioned whether it even happened. And let's just say, they came with receipts. One viral claim, the capsule's hatch appeared to open from the inside before Bezos officially opened it on camera. Something that shouldn't be possible if it were properly sealed from the outside. Then came the photo stills. A mannequin-looking hand inside the capsule. No burn marks from re-entry. No helmets. And suspiciously limited footage from inside during the actual launch. You know, all the normal red flags that usually accompany space travel, or a staged theater production. Even the rocket design came under fire, both for its shape, you've seen the memes, and for what some dubbed a CGI feel to the landing. Theories exploded online claiming it was just an elaborate PR stunt filmed on a soundstage with influencer cameos. And while there's no hard proof to back those claims, the lack of transparency certainly fueled the flames. Now, are these theories over the top? Probably. But when your mission includes couture suits, camera-ready tears, and not a single speck of visible science, it's no wonder people start thinking you're faking it. Because let's be honest, if you had to guess whether this was a scientific breakthrough or an episode of Keeping Up with the Cosmos, which would you choose? Space used to be the domain of governments, scientists, and dreamers. Now, it's looking more like the newest billionaire tax shelter. As the celebrity crew touched down and the cameras rolled, some viewers started asking the real question, who's actually benefiting from all this? And the answer, unsurprisingly, points right back to the man behind the launch, Jeff Bezos. See, when a mission includes zero science, zero research, and zero public purpose, but racks up millions in production costs, one starts to wonder if the stars aren't the only things being reached. Maybe it's a clever tax loophole, too. Host a space mission, invite famous friends, write off the rocket, the suits, the marketing, and even the party. Label it an exploration initiative and call it innovation. And don't forget the boost in brand visibility. Blue Origin got global headlines. Lauren Sanchez's profile skyrocketed. Katy Perry promoted a tour. Gail King declared herself reborn as a spacefaring icon. Every single passenger walked away with more clout. And Bezos got to wrap the whole thing in the American flag of progress. Meanwhile, the average taxpayer still can't afford a dentist visit, let alone a seat on a suborbital press junket. When billionaires use space as a PR playground and get rewarded for it financially, it begs the question, was this about inspiring the public or just inspiring their accountants? So what happens now? Is this the future of space travel? Designer suits, luxury handbags, and Instagram captions declaring empowerment at 100,000 feet. Because if this mission is any clue, we might be trading scientific progress for spectacle. Once upon a time, space meant exploration. Now it's a backdrop for personal branding, complete with lighting, stylists, and hashtags. There was a time when space launches inspired the world. Kids dreamed of becoming astronauts. Nations united to put people on the moon. But now, it's starting to feel like space is being privatized not just by billionaires, but by their marketing teams. And the more we glamorize these high-altitude vanity trips, the further we drift from what space exploration should be. Bold, dangerous, messy, and deeply human. Are we moving toward a future where astronaut resumes list seat number 4, and the only data collected is engagement metrics? Or will we eventually draw the line between science and spectacle? Because if space becomes just another playground for the elite, where do the rest of us fit in? When the stars are only accessible to those with followers and Forbes rankings, it's not a giant leap for mankind. It's a red carpet in orbit. In the end, the Blue Origin mission wasn't remembered for its science or its innovation. It was remembered for its spectacle, a rocket full of influencers, a mission dressed in designer suits, a $7,000 purse floating through space while the world watched in equal parts awe, confusion, and cringe. Yes, the crew went up and came back down. Yes, they technically touched space. But the real takeaway wasn't what happened in the sky. It was what happened on the ground. We watched the definition of achievement get rewritten in real time. No training, no engineering, just branding, buzzwords, and billionaire access. Maybe that's the future of space travel. Sold to the highest bidder, repackaged as empowerment, and streamed in real time. Or maybe, just maybe, this was a warning, a glimpse into what happens when exploration is replaced by exhibition, when every launch becomes a marketing event, and when history is written not by pioneers, but by publicists. So now we ask you, was this a defining moment for women in space? Or just the most expensive influencer campaign in history? Let us know in the comments. Because one thing's for sure, if space is the final frontier, it's getting a whole lot more crowded with egos.